A lot of companies I've seen, they have maybe one person that creates their products, and they're not always a scientist. But at Neolife, we have 10 scientists that oversee the quality and the safety and the efficacy of our products. So today I'm going to talk about the breakfast solution, Neolife Shake and Pro Vitality for weight management and optimal health and vitality. But first, let's just talk about the issue of obesity and people being overweight in the United States. About 42% of Americans are overweight or obese, and being overweight or obese can lead to chronic low-grade inflammation. And then chronic low-grade inflammation can then lead to metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is not a disease, but it's a combination of 5 different risk factors. We have high blood glucose, low good cholesterol, high triglycerides, high blood pressure, large waist circumference, think sort of apple-shaped women or pear-shaped men. And so people have metabolic syndrome if they have 3 out of these 5 risk factors. And our Western diet, with saturated fats and lots of meat and fried foods and sugary beverages, contributes to metabolic inflammation. And what scientists have actually realized recently is that that Western diet creates inflammation in the part of the brain called the hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus controls appetite. So scientists have figured out that inflammation in the brain happens even before weight gain happens, because as long as we're eating inflammatory foods, then over time it's going to increase our appetite and we're going to gain weight. And that's why it doesn't work if we're like, well, I want to lose weight, so I'll just eat less of these inflammatory foods. It doesn't work, not for the long run, because even if we're eating less inflammatory foods, they're still inflammatory and they're still going to create inflammation in the hypothalamus, and it's still going to increase our appetite. So the best way to have success long term is to eat an anti-inflammatory diet and take anti-inflammatory supplements. Anti-inflammatory diet, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean meats, fish, that kind of thing. So when people are overweight or obese, it shows up in their fat cells and their fat tissue. A normal fat cell will have sort of the right balance of inflammatory and anti-inflammatory cells. We need a little bit of inflammation to keep us healthy. But in people who are overweight and obese and have metabolic syndrome, then their cells are overrun with inflammation. And when cells are overrun with inflammation, then it causes DNA damage and genetic damage. Our genes are made up of DNA. And most of us think of genes as something, that doesn't change, right? We get our genes from our parents. They give us our eye color and our height or our shoe size. But actually, most of the genes in our body aren't static. They can be influenced by diet and exercise and supplements. So any type of cellular inflammation is going to negatively impact our DNA and our genes. So for example, certain genes need to be activated for optimal health. Other genes need to be calmed down or inhibited for optimal health. And I like to tell the story about broccoli muffins. There was a scientist that gave women broccoli muffins for several weeks and then compared them against women that did not get the broccoli muffins. And it turns out that the broccoli and the muffins activated the genes that protect against cancer and inhibited or calmed down the genes that promote cancer. And another example of this is USDA researchers discovered that there's a specific gene called the ApoA2 that is activated by a diet high in saturated fats. And ApoA2 when it's activated, increases our appetite and increases our body mass index. But what the scientists also found out is that if people replace saturated fat, like butter is a saturated fat, if we replace saturated fat with a monounsaturated fat like olive oil, then it calms this gene down. But guess how long it takes? 6 days. It's really fast. It took only 6 days. Even just in the broccoli muffin example, it doesn't take a lot of time to influence our genetic makeup for the better. So the products in the breakfast solution, Neolife Shake and Pro Vitality, help to support a healthy inflammatory response, especially when combined with a healthy diet and exercise. So let's start by talking about Pro Vitality. Pro Vitality is foundational. It's the product upon which all other products should be based on. I like to tell people, if you do nothing else, take Pro Vitality. It's 4 products in one. Trai Great Concentrate, carotenoid complex, omega-3 salmon oil plus, and 21 essential vitamins and minerals. Let's talk about carotenoids first. Carotenoids are the pigments or the color that's found in lots of fruits and vegetables. And what research has shown is carotenoids are anti-inflammatory, specifically for fat cells and fat tissue. But the problem is that, the USDA recommends we all get 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. But according to the CDC, 90% of Americans don't get 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. But the literature on this is actually really clear. The science says we need 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. So that means most Americans aren't getting the 5 recommended servings of fruits and vegetables a day, let alone 10. So carotenoid complex is a great solution to this problem. Our carotenoid complex has 15 different carotenoids from different fruits and vegetables, including carrots and red bell peppers and tomato spinach and apricots and peaches. And our carotenoid complex was also studied in a USDA clinical trial, and it was found to boost our immune response by 37% in just 20 days. Again, it doesn't take a lot of time for these things to work. And we know it works on a cellular level because it increases lymphocytes, white blood cells, including natural killer cells. And each capsule contains the equivalent of a serving of carotenoid-rich fruits and vegetables. Let's talk about the healthy fat portion of ProVitality. So the science on fish oil is clear. Habitual fish supplementation, that means if we take fish oil every single day, it is associated with a 13% risk of everything that can kill us, a 16% risk of dying of cardiovascular disease, and a 7% decrease in risk from even getting a heart attack or a stroke in the first place. And our salmon oil is different from all the other salmon oils out there because ours is standardized to 8 important omega-3s. Most products just have 2. Ours has 8. Plus, our product is sustainably fished in pristine North Atlantic waters. We test for over 200 contaminants, including lead and mercury and PCBs. And a daily consumption of our salmon oil is the equivalent of the American Heart Association's recommended 2 servings of fatty fish per week. Our salmon oil plus was also studied in a clinical trial. It's cardioprotective. It reduced triglycerides by 17%. It increased the omega-3 index by 38%. And it also balances inflammation. It lowered the AA to EPA ratio, which is an important inflammatory marker, and it lowered it by 68%. Again, this change happens quickly. And fish oil can help reverse the effects of metabolic syndrome because it's anti-inflammatory. And not only is it anti-inflammatory, but fish oil also has the ability to activate genes that are associated with tissue repair. So if we have lifelong bad habits and we have DNA damage or genetic damage, then fish oil can be part of the tools to repairing that damage. The other healthy fat portion of ProVitality is Trai. Trai is made from the lipid extracts of GMO-free rice, soy, and wheat. It was the world's first phytonutrient ever created back in 1958. It was originally created for a hospital research study on chronic fatigue. And recent research has validated what we knew way back in 1958, which is that rice bran oil and wheat germ oil work on a cellular level to calm down the genes involved in inflammation and to activate the genes associated with an anti-inflammatory response. And then ProVitality also has our essential vitamin and mineral complex, which is a proprietary blend of 21 micronutrients. Now, Americans are well fed, but we tend to be undernourished. And so many of us don't get enough of the essential vitamins and minerals that we need. And so this is a great way to close that gap. So ProVitality's benefits are abundant energy and antioxidant protection, heart health, immune support, healthy brain function, flexible, healthy joints, clear vision, healthy hair, skin, and nails. And then I circled the last one, which is lifelong cellular health, because we know this works on a cellular level. And a 30-day supply of ProVitality will give us the equivalent of 12 pounds of whole grain lipids and sterols, 80 pounds of carotenoid-rich fruits and vegetables, and 10 servings of omega-3 rich fish. So let's now talk about Neolife Shake, the protein part of the breakfast solution. We all know breakfast is important, But that's because science keeps studying it over and over again, and you keep getting the same answer, which is that when we have a good breakfast, it helps us have normal blood pressure, it helps us have normal cholesterol levels, it improves energy, it improves mood, it even improves short-term verbal memory. Protein is key for weight management because protein has a significant effect on satiety. Just a moderate increase of protein combined with exercise increases thermogenesis, which is the rate at which we burn calories. We actually burn more calories when we eat protein. We spend 20 to 30% of our calories burning protein, only 5 to 15% burning carbohydrates, and only 0 to 4% burning fat. Our Neolife shake is an excellent source of 18 grams of biologically complete protein, highest possible protein quality score. It contains branched chain amino acids for building muscle. It contains 5 grams of fiber for satiety, 25 essential vitamins and minerals, and it also comes with our glycemic control technology, so it helps regulate blood sugar. It's also been studied in a clinical trial. And the participants saw a 10% reduction in body fat. Their BMI was lowered. It reduced their bad cholesterol by 15%, and it improved the good cholesterol to bad cholesterol ratio. Also, whey and soy protein impact metabolism and our genes. In a meta-analysis, which is a study that looks at 37 studies with over 2,300 individuals, whey protein consistently had an anti-inflammatory effect. Likewise with soy protein. Soy protein, if you look at multiple studies, it has an anti-inflammatory effect, and it also supports heart health. Upbeat, let's talk about Upbeat. Our newest product we just launched a few months ago in our July convention. If you recall, Upbeat has 70 milligrams of dietary nitrates. It also contains a clinically studied botanical blend that jumpstarts the body's own activation of nitric oxide. Well, dietary nitrates and nitric oxide fight metabolic syndrome. Dietary nitrates normalize blood pressure, improve endothelial function, which means it increases blood flow, supports normal blood sugar, and then it also increases exercise performance, which then helps with weight loss. And let's not forget about exercise, because exercise also impacts metabolic syndrome and our genes. There was a study where they had people bicycle with one leg and not with the other, and then they looked at the muscle tissue in the exercise leg and compared it to the muscle tissue in the non-exercise leg. And the muscle tissue in the exercise leg showed positive impact on genes associated with insulin response, inflammation, and energy metabolism. So the breakfast solution plus Upbeat is going to fight metabolic syndrome. It's going to do all of these things. It's going to support healthy inflammatory response. It's going to improve energy metabolism. It's going to support healthy weight. It's going to improve satiety. It's going to promote fat burning, and it's going to promote cellular health. So that concludes my first talk of the day, and I am looking forward, thank you. I am looking forward to coming back in a few hours to talking to you about stress and how Neolife can help with everyday stress. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.